I'm just a guy, and I have a passion to learn, and I have a passion for the divine, and it's always been something that I've been aware of. It's a persistent feeling that never seems to go away, and I think people come to this work because they have that feeling. They may not be able to put into words what they feel, but it's an instinct in their mind that never goes away, that there's more to reality than this dream.
Welcome to Good Vibes. We are dedicated to raise your vibration to make you inspired and make your day. Before we start, hit the subscribe button and the bell button next to it. Enjoy the video.
I now know that if I can speak it in a way that nothing is left to conjecture, nothing is left to superstition, nothing is left to dogma. They know exactly what they're doing and why. And the moment you know the what and the why, the how starts to get easier. So I will deliver concepts, ideas, mix different forms of science to create a model of understanding. And I now know that if that person, as I develop this model of understanding, can explain that model to someone else, they're wiring it in their brain. They're installing the hardware. If they can't explain it, it's not wired in their brain, and they're not going to believe that they can do it. So if they can turn the person next to them, between the two of them, and build a model of understanding, they're making their brain fire in new sequences and new patterns and new combinations. They're changing their mind. Mind is the brain in action. If I keep reminding them of what they're learning, nerve cells that fire together wire together. They're installing the circuitry. Now, the next step is to provide the environment and give them the proper instruction to get their behaviors to match their intentions, to get their actions equal to their thoughts, to get their mind and body working together. If they do, they're going to run into a new experience. Now, the crazy thing about the experience is learning is making new synaptic connections. That's what learning is. Research shows that you pay attention and learn something new and you repeat it just for an hour, you're going to double the number of connections in your brain. That's a lot, 1,600 to the 3,200 connections. That's a lot of extra connections. But if you don't review it, if you don't think about it, if you don't repeat it, those circuits prune apart within hours or days. So if learning is making new connections, then remembering is maintaining and sustaining those connections. You got to review it. It's so much easier to forget than remember when it comes to this stuff, and it's a constant process. So then, if they can get their behaviors to match their intentions, and they have a new experience. Experience enriches the philosophical circuits in the brain, but when those neurons string into place, the brain makes a chemical. And that chemical is called a feeling or an emotion. When you start feeling unlimited, when you start feeling worthy, when you are having an experience that causes you to be more in love with life, it is that chemical release from the limbic brain that teaches your body chemically to understand what your mind has intellectually understood. So if knowledge is for the mind, experience is for the body, and in that moment the person's embodying the truth of that philosophy, and now they're selecting and instructing new genes from the experience because the chemistry that's coming from the environment is information. And so genes make proteins, and all of a sudden they start wearing a different body. Repeat it over and over again. Do anything over and over again. Neurochemically, you'll condition your mind and body begin to work as one. Do it enough times, now your body will know better than your conscious mind. Now it's innate in you. Now it's second nature. Now it's simple. Now you know that you know. You may not know how you do it. You don't know how you know how, but you can do it because it's subconscious now. So now that implicit memory, now you're mastering that knowledge. You're mastering the philosophy. You're becoming the knowledge. You're embodying it so much so that it's automatic, it's effortless, it's easy. So when we started looking at people's ability to regulate their brainwaves, we just published a paper, it just got released yesterday. Our students in our community can do it in 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 9 seconds, 11 seconds. It's not like, hey, I'm getting the divine ahead of you. It's just like they've done it so many times, like it's like driving a stick shift. It's not a difficult thing, but they practiced. And they came up against their blocks. They came up against their limitations. They came up against their frustrations. They came up against their analytical mind, and I want them to in a week-long event, because if not now, when? Now is the new later, and let's do it now, right?
Yes.
So then what we learned when we started studying brains, well, we were doing pre and post measurements, and we've got thousands and thousands of brain scans. We have real-time brain scans too, and when I started seeing people whose brains were getting worse during a meditation, I said to them, what are you doing in there? And 100% of the time, they were analyzing their life or themselves within some disturbing emotion. And if emotions are the record of the past, and those emotions are derived from the hormones of stress, they were thinking in the past. And I learned right in that moment that if I got the person past the emotion, cross the river of change with me, forget about the emotion, just keep overcoming it. Forget about the past. Dragging people out of their past is the work. And so, when we started studying those brains and we started seeing changes, pre and post measurements, I realized the change wasn't just in their mind. It was actually in their brain. And that we were measuring different compartments of the brain, and when we're living in stress and we're living in survival, when the brain is aroused into those high beta brainwave patterns and we're out of balance and we're trying to predict and control everything in our life, and we're shifting our attention from one person to another problem, to another thing, to another condition. Every person, every object, every thing, every place has a neurological network in your brain. So as the person was aroused by the hormones of stress like a lightning storm in the clouds, their brain was firing very incoherently. Different compartments were out of sync with other compartments of the brain. And if your brain is incoherent, you're incoherent. If your brain isn't working right, you're not working right. So if it requires a clear intention and elevated emotion to begin to change reality, and you have an incoherent brain, what kind of signal are you sending out into the field? Pretty static. In fact, better way to say it is you have no Wi-Fi signal. You're separate. And the hormones of stress create separation. And when you're sitting in a staff meeting and you're looking at that person and you just want to punch them in the head, or you want to throttle them in some reason, or you're angry on traffic and you're turning on those hormones, you're stepping on the gas. But at the same time, you can't fight, you can't run, you can't hide, you're stepping on the brake. You step on the gas and the brake at the same time, your heart starts beating incoherently and energy leaves the brain and heart. We've seen this so many times. So then, if the thought is the electrical charge in the quantum field, and the feeling is the magnetic charge, and how you think and how you feel creates your state of being, then we got to get energy right into this center right here. Because if you're going to believe in that future that you're imagining with all of your heart, it better be open and activated. And we got to teach people how to create heart coherence. And we have beautiful imagery to show that when a person's heart is coherent, like taking a big sheet and just flushing it, just whipping it like that wave that's created, the heart begins to send profound waves of energy into the brain, and the brain goes into a creative state. So the heart is the creative center. And our heart begins to drive our brain into more alpha patterns, more creative patterns. At the same time, when the heart gets coherent, it's producing an ambient magnetic field up to 3 meters wide. Now you're more wave, less particle. More energy, less matter. You're emitting a coherent signature. Now that energy is frequency. And that frequency carries information. So once energy begins to activate the heart, and you're giving thanks for the event before it's happened, your body's so objective, it's believing that it's happening to you, because what is the emotional signature of gratitude? When you get something favorable, you receive something favorable, something just happened to you that you like, something's happening to you, you say, thank you. The feeling of gratitude, the emotional signature, means it's happening to you, it's already happened. So it is the ultimate state of receivership. So teach a person how to give thanks before it happens, open their heart, and their heart's like a pounding of a drum or dropping a pebble in water, is producing this field. It's that energy, that creative energy, can carry the thought of their health. It can ride, that intention can ride on the wave that could be wealth, new relationship, suffering, and the energy does not carry the thought of health. It carries a different set of thoughts. So people say to me, well, I can't open my heart. Well, I ask them, well, what do you practice feeling all day long anyway? Because you're so good at feeling something else, you haven't practiced feeling it. So then, when we teach people this formula, they have to keep overcoming their thoughts, overcoming their impatience, overcoming the programs, they come right up against it. Anything that's standing in the way between them and their connection, they got to do business with it. And so as they start removing those veils, those masks, those layers, and they start crossing that river of change, and their heart starts to open a little bit, and they feel a little bit more, and they feel a little bit more, and their brain is coherent. Now they have a coherent brain and a coherent heart. The balance between the two is an exchange of information that's not coming from out there, it's coming from within them. And now they have a Wi-Fi signal. And now they're connected. When your heart opens and your brain is coherent, you feel connected to something greater. You don't feel separate any longer. So then, can you then get so good at it that no person, no condition, no experience in your life is going to move you from it? That's the name of the game. That's the Wi-Fi signal now. And so now, whatever you broadcast into the field is really your experiment with destiny. Not for the whatever you get, but for the fact that you created it. That's the fun part. And then, so many people, I have people in our work that created so much wealth. The first thing they did? They gave it away. Well, of course they would, because they now believe they can create it again. So now what?
Đời luôn luôn thế, hãy sống và yêu thật lòng. Có ai biết trước ngày mai như thế nào? Hãy cứ trân trọng xung quanh ta. Cười lên, ngày mai đã đến. Ta cảm ơn cuộc đời đã cho ta thấy bình minh. Hạnh phúc là đây, tìm kiếm đâu chỉ xa vời. Có nhiều đây được rồi, không cần cao xa.
Now you just get good at giving. Like, it's no longer about that. What do you want? You're going to get that car, and then you're going to be like, I'd rather drive the Mini. I don't really care about that whatever car. I'm just happy with what I have. So when you're at that point where you're so whole that you don't care what people think about you, when you're so happy with yourself that you're free, you don't care what you look like, you're just happy with you, man, that's freedom for people. That's so much freedom. So it brings me great joy to witness transformation. And that formula, then, I always tell people, don't work on your healing. Work on learning the formula. Once you learn the formula and get it down, the healing will be the side effect of your personal change.
I really hope you loved this video and it was helpful. So please help me make it more popular by giving your thumbs up, commenting it and sharing on the social networks with your friends. Before we start with complete the quote challenge, hit the subscribe button and the bell button next to it. As you see, most of you guys that enjoy my videos are unsubscribed. So subscribe and don't miss my new videos. And now it's time for our daily complete the quote challenge. If you are new to this, your job is to complete the inspiring quote we choose for you and write the correct answer in the comments below the video. If you can give us the right answer first, you're the winner of this daily challenge. In the previous video, we had a quote that belongs to Joe Dispenza. We were looking for two words. The quote goes like this: "We cannot create a new future by holding on to the emotions of," and the correct answer was the past. So we cannot create a new future by holding on to the emotions of the past. Congratulations to everyone with the correct answer, and to everyone who tried but didn't guess the answer. Today we also have the quote from Dr. Joe Dispenza. The quote goes like this: "When you believe in yourself, you believe." So we are missing for two words. If you know the correct answer, write it down in the comment section. Even if you're not sure what the correct answer is, try and guess, and find out the right answer in the next video. If you like this video and our challenge, give your thumbs up and share it with your friends. Spread the word. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button. By doing that, you'll get noted when my new video and new challenge is out. If you really like what we do here and want to support us, you can join our channel and our community for a symbolic fee and gain many other additional features. You can also support us by giving thanks under the video. Stay good and have a great day!
Cuộc đời thật vui khi ta có nhau trong đời. Một ngày cứ thế trôi qua và ta nhận lại bao nhiêu tiếng cười. Mình chở nhau đi quanh phố phường. Anh là người khiến con tim em mất hương. Chỉ cần ngày và nắng lên, đèn Facebook được sáng tên là cuộc đời của ta cứ trôi như êm đềm. Chỉ cần ngày và nắng lên, đèn Facebook được sáng tên là cuộc đời của ta sống trong mini game. Mình nhảy múa trong phòng toàn hơi men, cùng đắm say trong điệu nhạc cũ mềm. Mình cùng đưa nhau sang Paris để ngày trái tim ta buồn thì làm những điều mà ta muốn. Khi nhạc chìm thì ta xuống uống cạn ly, cứ chạy đến nơi đây vẫn còn suy. Đừng mơ đến được với như hồng màu, bất chế độ yêu anh như tình yêu màu hồng. Anh như là con thuyền, em như là đắm chìm. Anh như là cơn nghiện, làm con tim em yêu đến phát điên. Mình chở nhau đi quanh phố phường. Anh là người khiến con tim em mất.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make.
Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave. 6 feet deep under, but my body won't decay. Cause my messages are timeless, so they'll put them on display. Oh yeah, I rap with a certainty, I have a sense of urgency. A message for eternity, for everyone internally. I had some people burning me, but now they fucking learn to see I ain't the one to fuck with. Now they looking nervously, and I don't really care what you think of me respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you're fucking better, see. I will outwork you, turn you to an enemy. Hurt you so bad that you're gonna need some therapy. I got the motherfucking recipe. I've been cooking up hits, I'ma leave a legacy. You'll be looking small when you're standing right
way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say, yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yeah, I'ma do it my way.
Hoàng hôn 4 giây góc phố dài, mình em bâng thầm những nước mắt trên đôi vai này. Anh không bên cạnh, rời khỏi vòng tay ấy là những vụn vỡ, nơi phố vắng đã cũ một xa. Ta chẳng còn đón đưa nhau khi bão giông tố ngày mưa. Và dòng ký ức đã cất sau lưng rồi, mà mình giờ đã khuất lát phát sau con đường. Chỉ còn lại mình em lang thang nơi góc tối, là vầng giờ đang mưa dòng người dần nửa thức qua một giờ. Tìm lại bình yên cũ nơi ta có nhau, và giờ chỉ còn thương nhớ nơi đây em mang em vẫn chưa thể quên đi những quá khứ ai ta hiện về. Và em vẫn thương anh dù cho nỗi nhớ kia có phai mờ, dù cho bao khoảng cách có đánh đổi bằng sự lặng im. Và em vẫn sẽ chờ cho đến khi anh quay về, chờ lại bên em, ở lại bên em. Nếu như không có anh ở đây, buồn là điều duy nhất em có cho mình. Trở lại bình yên của em lúc xưa, sự tự do mà em mong anh thật có phải sống yên bình. Em vẫn ở nơi đây mong anh được an lành, dù em có đánh đổi cả ngàn phút giây để anh được hạnh phúc. Em đâu có thể giữ lại được trong bàn tay anh, nhưng biết sao giờ đây, em nói sao giờ đâu để anh không đi. Em không muốn phải dây vò bản thân mình bằng những nỗi đau. Vì điều bước trên tay để quên anh là điều không nên đâu.
Bye.